All right, go. You're going to have to ride with me. Lord, help me get through this one right here. But look, we're going to talk about this Sinclair method. This isn't, it's a, it says this site is intended to help you understand the research behind a modern solution to beat alcohol. Most people don't beat alcoholism on their own. That's what it says. This is the homepage. Dr. David Sinclair found a great solution to treat alcoholism. Okay. And then it says, thanks to Dr. Sinclair's research, you may not find a better solution to beat alcoholism. The Sinclair method has a 78% success rate. This is insane. And if any of y'all's in recovery or anything, you know that number right there is a lie. And it is. It's a lie. But I'm going to read this right here. That was right off the rip. And it says, Introduction to Dr. David Sinclair's research about alcoholism treatment. Dr. Sinclair started his research in America during the 1960s. He established what he called the alcohol deprivation effect as a driving force in alcohol addiction. He later moved to Helsinki, Finland, to take his research forward using specifically bred rats genetically predisposed to becoming alcoholic. The conclusion of Sinclair's experiments, that alcoholism is a learned behavior. It's a learned behavior. Well, you loaded them damn rats out, yeah. When a response or emotion has been reinforced with alcohol over a period of time, it is learned. Some people and some rats have genetic traits that led them to feel a lot of reinforcement from consuming alcohol, which eventually creates uncontrollable cravings. Sinclair was influenced by the work of the Nobel Prize-winning Russian physiologist Ivan Pavlov, famous for making dogs salivate when a bell was sounded. Once conditioned, dogs rewarded with food after a bell had been rung would salivate at the sound of the bell itself. Over time, Pavlov would ring the bell, but he stopped rewarding the dogs with food. The salivating tapered off. This is called extinction, and Sinclair thought the learned behavior of an addiction to an alcohol could be removed by extinction too. But these are animals, man. You know, everybody's body's different to everything. Everything. You know, you can't just do something with some rats and dogs and then be like, yeah, this is exactly how it's going to work. That is just insane. And these people are millionaires. And the reason I've seen this is because a lady had 1.4 million views about how she quit alcoholism, and she said she used the Sinclair method. And then when you do her inventory, she's a Hollywood movie star. So more than likely, it's a damn lie. And it's insane. Here we go. Following his early research, Sinclair hypothesized that alcohol produces reinforcement in the brain in a way that's similar to opiates. Yeah. His research indicated that alcohol produced reinforcement by releasing endorphins that bind with opiate receptors in the brain. So a solution to stopping the reinforcement cycle might be to block the receptors every time alcohol was used. Sinclair tested his theory on rats using naltrexone, an opiate blocker. And after that, he conducted clinical trials in people. The results were encouraging. The solutions discovered by Sinclair effectively means you have to drink yourself sober. Listen to that sentence. The solution discovered by Sinclair effectively means you have to drink yourself sober. This would surely be the perfect solution for many alcoholics. Extinction of the impulse to drink takes place over time and works for around 80% of people who use the method properly. It's important to note that you take the pill an hour before drinking. Listen, not simply when you feel like it. Over time, the desire to consume alcohol will diminish and people end up abstaining most of the time or occasionally have a drink when they wish. You need to continue taking the medication before drinking and when you feel like things are under control. Not once did they talk about communicating with anybody. Not once. Not once did they talk about some problems. Look in your past. Look in your history. Nothing like that. Absolutely nothing. Nothing about being honest. Nothing about saying I have a disease. I have something that's killing a lot of people. Pride is all through that right there. It says the Sinclair method has been very successful in the developing world where traditional rehab type facilities are often unavailable. The Sinclair method uses chemical extinction to change the drinking habits of an alcoholic or problem drinker. Just problem drinker. And that's just still not being honest. This is insane. Just take a tablet 1 hour before you plan to drink alcohol. I mean, it's insane. In description, the Sinclair method is a treatment for alcohol addiction that uses a technique called pharmacological extinction, the use of an opiate blocker to turn habit-forming behaviors into habit-erasing behaviors. The effect return a person's craving for alcohol to its pre-addiction state in a few months. Did you hear that? The effect returns a person's craving for alcohol to its pre-addiction state. So now it's saying you ain't even going to be an alcoholic no more, to the state. So your mind is just going to go away. In a few months, most people can cut down their alcohol consumption to safe levels, and many stop drinking alcohol for good. It is important to comply with the instructions at all times. This is not a damn manual. This is not. And this is all garbage. And this is all over the internet. Did you hear that? People that's really in gung-ho, like, we're going to cut down on our drinking. I went to a doctor and had my blood checked and was talking about drinking. And he said, you could taper off. Get you a 6-pack, start with a 12. And I'm like, yeah, I'm drinking 50 or 60 a day. And I'm going to buy a 6-pack. It's like, that's why I'm in here, doc. Give me 90 Xanaxes. I'm going to eat 10 tonight, and then in a week I'll be good. But that never worked. But this is insane. How TSM works. Just take a tablet 1 to 2 hours before drinking before your first drink of the day for the rest of your life. As long as you continue to drink. The tablets chemically disrupt the body's behavior. Reward cycle causing you want to drink in less instead of more. If you stop taking the medication before drinking, you can undo the process and go back to drinking how you did before the treatment. Success rate. The Sinclair method has a 78% long-term success rate. That is garbage. We all know worldwide it's under 5% of the people that really get this and keep it and that are solid about it. You got people in this that are lying. They lie about it because they know there's a lot of money in it. And they're doing it for the money. And that's all there is. I ran into these snakes. I remember talking to all of them. Every conversation. And down the road I'll have my time to speak about that garbage. But it says studies have proven that TSM is equally effective with or without therapy. So patients can choose whether or not to combine TSM with therapy. Don't worry about talking about your problems. Don't worry about that. Just keep that all held in. Keep that all held in and bubbling up inside of you. Just don't say nothing to nobody. Keep it all in. Just act like there ain't nothing wrong. That is insane. And there's people actually reading this and they're going, wow, and taking notes and everything. And think about how many people they tell. And we're trying to do something to help people and just nobody gives a shit. But it says the physical results will be the same. Extinction usually occurs within 3 to 4 months. So from what I'm reading, in 3 to 4 months, you're going to be in pre-addiction state. In my professional opinion, this man needs to be evaluated by me. By one of us down here that's been through the shit. And we'll give our utmost professional opinion on what all this is, because this is nothing. This will get you killed right here. You'll be in the same damn spot forever. You'll end up dying. And you will. But I mean, this is serious, man. And I'm going to see whatever it's insane. No, that's the same thing. It's But anyways, let's see. The Sinclair method uses the nervous system's own mechanism called extinction for gradually removing the interest in alcohol and the behaviors involved in alcohol drinking. Therefore, the technical term for TSM is pharmacological extinction. The key scientific discovery underlying the treatment was that, contrary to earlier beliefs, detoxification and alcohol deprivation do not stop alcohol craving, but in fact increase subsequent alcohol drinking. The old idea that alcoholism is caused by physiological dependence on alcohol, therefore needed to be discarded, and a new understanding of alcoholism developed. You're insane. The old idea that alcoholism is caused by physiological dependence, it is. They're not even talking about the brain. They're not once talking about the triune brain and the signal that it keeps getting. And why these people do not want nobody to get help. This is garbage. It's insane. Nobody cares. This is bullshit. It says subsequent research showed that alcohol drinking is a learned behavior. Some individuals, partly for genetic reasons, get so much reinforcement each time they drink and have so many opportunities to drink and get reinforcement that the behavior becomes too strong. They cannot always control their drinking, yet they cannot just say no. And society calls them alcoholics. It's because they are. And until you get your head out of your ass and say, I'm an alcoholic, we're going to be right there where we're at. But once again, these people are giving you false hope. It's what it is. We call that false hope in recovery. They're giving you some bullshit you're going to fall flat on your face doing. You're going to do a whole lot better looking in that mirror and say, you know what, I'm an addict. You know, I am an addiction, whatever it is. And it says laboratory studies indicated that in most cases the reinforcement from alcohol involved the opiate system, the same system where morphine, heroin, and endorphin produce their effects. The brain has two primary mechanisms for changing its own wiring on the basis of experience. First, there is learning for strengthening behaviors that provide reinforcement. Second, there is extinction for removing behaviors that no longer produce reinforcement. Excuse me? The best known example involves Pavlov's dogs that learned to salivate to the sound of a bell when the bell was followed by food, but then had the learned behavior extinguished when the food reinforcement was no longer given after the bell was rung. These are dogs. This is insane. Certain medicines such as naltrexone, block the effects of endorphin and other opiates. I reasoned that if alcohol is drunk while one of these opioid antagonists is blocking endorphin reinforcement in the brain, the extinction mechanism would be activated, and it would then produce a small but permanent decrement in alcohol drinking and craving. The next day, the person would be slightly less interested in alcohol. Eventually, slightly less interested in alcohol. And if you drinking like us, man, we're drinking it all day long, all night, every time we get a chance. Eventually, control would be regained. This is with no communication. This is with nothing. And the person would, remember, you can choose to go to therapy and be regained, and the person would no longer be an alcoholic. Y'all are insane. Why is this even out here, man? The views, God almighty. And people, I'm telling you, this shit is made up. This is to destroy more people. That's the only reason. Why is more people not reading this shit and going, this is garbage? Less likely to drink alcohol. Eventually control would be regained, and the person would no longer be an alcoholic. Indeed, they no longer would be interested in alcohol. Garbage. The Sinclair method was confirmed first in a large body of laboratory studies. In laboratories, yeah. Then in over 90 clinical... Listen to this. Listen to how far supposedly they've took this. First in a large body of laboratory studies. 6. Then in over 90 clinical trials around the world, and most recently in personal reports by people using it. It has been found to be successful in about 80% of alcoholics. That's garbage. This is very high for alcoholism treatment, but the treatment is not for everyone. Some people apparently have a different form of alcoholism that does not involve the opioid system and cannot be treated effectively with opioid antagonists. The Sinclair method is simply taking an opioid antagonist before drinking. Naltrexone and all that other stuff are not substitution drugs similar to methadone for heroin addiction or Nicorettes for nicotine addiction. The opioid antagonists are not addictive, and they do not directly reduce craving for alcohol. And unlike disulfiram, the opioid antagonists do not produce an unpleasant aversive effect. Indeed, the opioid antagonists do not do anything until after endorphin has been released. Then the mechanism of an extinction is triggered, and the extinction mechanism is turned progressively but permanently removes the neuro cause for excessive drinking. I am sorry, but that was long, but that's insane. I didn't even know people even put stuff out like that, and we wonder where we're at. People see numbers like that, always ask, and this is what I'm going to tell you. When you call somewhere and ask a success rate, they will lie to you because it's not very high for most places. Most and all, I'm going to say all, they're not high at all because they have no idea about these people. We go to facilities 2, 3, 4, and 5 times, in different cities. We get up to 40, 50 times through detox over and over and over. Because we try, some of us, but some people just do that shit to get out of trouble. But anyways, think about that, man. That was pretty insane, though. Love you.